Torchlight 3 Early Access, which is available on Steam right now for $29.99, and with the understanding that, of course, that this is still very much beta. So I have discussed it in previous videos that this is what we're going to be doing, and that the current state of the game. But more specifically, today I wanted to discuss a particular class. Like last time I was streaming, we talked a lot about, the game overall, its development, what we could not do, some of the changes that were involved. But I also, at the entire time, I was playing the sharpshooter class. So this time, what I really want to do is focus on the Railmaster class. And while I am setting that up, I am doing something else. And I have to say, I really enjoy the changes that have been done to the Railmaster class. One sec. Yes. There we go. Yes, I do like the changes that have been made to the Railmaster class. If you don't know, there's some interesting quirks with this class because it is exactly what it sounds like. You summon a train, and that is your pet. So let's go ahead and get into this. All right. So, as I said, the Railmaster class is very unique in its in what it can do. It's also unique in the sense that you don't necessarily have to rely on the train itself to do the damage. You can also have a purely melee character, and that is fine. I'm going to go ahead and kick that music back on, make this a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to look at the character and some of its abilities and what it can do, and also obviously a demonstration for what the class is capable of doing. So in this case, I've got some legendary gear, the cosmic set, and it's been really nice so far. The character's abilities, or the class's abilities. One of the things that I don't really like is that this build train must absolutely be on your bar if you wish to use a train. Why is that a problem? Well, because it takes up an active skill slot. And because it's, in and of itself, it's a very weak ability. It's very just kind of there. You know what I mean? And I just, in order to build on your train, you have to have this. And with that being said, I could fill up the whole rest of this thing with different cars and whatnot, but I think at that point in time, you don't actually get to do anything yourself. And relying on the train in its current state is not that great of an idea. So what I have here is I'm having the build train. I've got it up into the tier 2 bonus to do a little extra damage, get some more attack speed. But one of the issues that is currently going on in early access is that descriptions such as this. Your lead car now passively fires electrified rounds that arc to one nearby enemy. Now, when you see this, you think of this as being a passive ability, and it makes sense. I mean, honestly, if it's my lead car that I have to have out there at any given time in order to have a train at all, why not have this be a purely passive ability? But no, it has to be on your active skill bar, and I hate that fact. So that feedback has been provided, and I'm hoping that the devs kind of take this into consideration. And honestly, it would be really nice to have more passive abilities be applied to any of the characters. And that's one thing I've noticed, is that there's not a whole lot of passive abilities that are part of any type of skill tree. So some of the other things that I have, or some of the other things that abilities that the Railmaster has, is it can fire off mortar cars. Or I say it can fire off mortars in a mortar car. It has a passive and active ability, and of course tier bonuses. And from the get-go, whereas this build train was very kind of meh from the beginning, the mortar car was pretty solid from the beginning. Like, as soon as you get it, it's like, okay, this thing actually does damage. It not only fires on its own, but you can also use the active skill ability to target exactly where you want it to go, doing a bit more damage, and that is kind of cool. So it does damage over time, and that's very, very helpful. So you also have a shield car, which right now is a bit bugged. I know that last time I took this ability, it made my train work in all kinds of wonky ways, and I couldn't actually get my train to follow me or do anything, let alone this particular car. So there's only 3 cars on your train, including the lead car. Then we got the shotgun car. I like this one as well. When you think of a shotgun, you think it's going to be a spread, and it's going to just kind of just do a lot of damage, close contact type of thing, and will stop. Like, as soon as it hits an enemy, it's just going to do that small little cone spread and then stop. No. In this case, it shoots a single large slug that pierces enemies. So I think I would have probably named this like some type of rail cannon or something like that, because that's more how it feels than a shotgun. Ghost Train, I obviously haven't been able to check out yet. Call forth the spirit of an ancient train and moves forward, doing 192 damage and knocks back your foes. Sounds like a charge ability that your train is going to do against an enemy, but with how kind of goofy the train operates as it is, I think this would take some time to master. And I've already discussed the shocking round. And I've also... but I haven't really used it, so I can actually use it now, see how it operates, to and see if it's actually worth the active slot. And then we got the flamethrower car, which does exactly what it sounds like it does, but I'm not at the level yet in order to use this. Does a flamethrower. Now, being that this character does a lot of that fire type damage, I went ahead and took the fire relic, which in this case is called the Flaming Destroyer. And I have to say, I like this one. There's a lot of folks out there that don't necessarily like it. I think it's a little bit underwhelming in the relic power itself, but its active ability, this sword smash right here, is fantastic. It does quite a bit of damage, has a quick cooldown, and you can buff not only make that cooldown even faster, but make it do a lot more damage, which is even better. So, and then you have Magma Burst, Firestorm, and eventually I'll get Rain of Fire. So looking forward to this one, but these 2 other abilities are absolutely phenomenal. These are passive abilities that come with your relic skill, and they do extra burning damage. We got a fireball that drops from the sky, and it just kind of happens, as you're fighting. So, of course, you can increase the chance of that firestorm to come down and do the damage boost as well. So, yeah, I like the Flaming Destroyer. Now for the melee abilities. So, melee abilities, you'll notice I don't have a whole lot of them. And that is because I am building a train type build, because it's a Railmaster, and I want to take advantage of the gimmick. One of the issues with the game right now that I have brought up in feedback, and the devs seem very, very, very adamant about not allowing us to really respec. We do have what's called respectacles, where there are actual spectacles that drop that allow us to refund points, not entire abilities, but points. So if I put 6 points into this, I need all 6 of those respectables in order to get rid of that entire ability. I don't like that, because it doesn't allow for a whole lot of freedom to be able to experiment, trial and error builds without having to just create a whole new character. And personally, this game is not very well set up for, as of right now in early access, to be able to handle that type of gameplay. So we'll see how this works out end game. Right now, there's not a whole lot of end game to be said, but I do look forward to getting there. Right now, we haven't seen a whole lot of people that are above the level of 40. But let's go ahead and demonstrate what this is all about. You know what? I didn't even really get into the skills. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't get into the melee skills. So I do have Pound. Pound is a great ability, close combat. You get 2 stacks of Pound at any given time that will refresh over time. And then as they do, you'll notice that I have this right here. It's like my endurance bar. And as I do damage to bad guys, that will fill up. And then this ability will also has a chance to use that in order to, or that endurance bonus you see right there, gain 50% attack speed and damage with basic attacks for 10 seconds if that endurance bonus is applied to it. Same thing with the mortar car. Mortar car has a chance to also utilize that endurance bonus. So it's the more you have there, the more bonuses you get to it, but it also, using the active abilities, drains it completely. So it's something to think about. I am having a lot of fun with the Railmaster. When it first was announced, way back in when it was still Frontiers, I tried it out. Not impressed. So when I first got access to Torchlight Frontiers, it was just the Dusk Mage and the Automaton, and they're called Forged. I was not impressed with it, but after tinkering with it now, I've had a lot more fun with that. With this character class, you get blasting charge. We could throw out a blasting charge that deals 72% weapon damage. Again, I haven't had a whole lot of experience with these yet. I would love to go through and just absolutely tinker with these and create a multitude of different builds. Definitely look forward to this spike drive. This looks like one of those really interesting AoE type of abilities, but you kind of have to be pretty far along in the levels in order to acquire this. Hammer spin, you got your whirlwind for those barbarian builds that just like to spin, spin, spin. There you go. Flying picks throws out 2 picks, dealing damage. So you can pretend you're Thor, but with pickaxes. Lantern flash. It's kind of like Ancient Lantern, burn enemies for weapon damage, and it's almost like it doesn't actually blind them, which is kind of a bummer, but does fire type damage. Torque swing, swinger hammer with massive force to deal 288% weapon damage in a large area of effect. Sounds a lot like hammer spin, if you ask me. So there's not only so much you can do with these. I have seen some folks build purely melee type of builds with this, and that's fine. I think this character class would work well as just even a sword and board, because you don't have to have a two-hander in order to do those abilities, which is fantastic. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and demonstrate the choo-choo. All right, so summoning the train. Get your lead car, get your other cars in there. Again, you have your active skills, the mortar, bam. Shotgun goes right through those enemies like that, and it works pretty well. You do also have the ability to just stop where the train is, so if you just want to leave it. The only time I've ever really had to use that is to stop the train from being bugged. Every now and then it'll get really bugged. And for those of you who like nice and clean screens and whatnot, this is not the class for you, because there's a lot of weird physics involved with the train and how the tracks work, and but that's also another problem there. If you tie the knots like that, it takes a while for your train to catch up, and it is on those rails, and you do have to wait for it. In the beginning, the train is extremely underwhelming. Especially when you only have that lead car. The common consensus among the community right now is that about level 15 is when you start to really see the damage of the train ramp up a bit. Not sure exactly why that is or what is going on right there. I don't know. But I have noticed a significant difference in its reliability to assist me in battles, especially against bosses and other champions. I mean, against these little guys, just one big pound slam, easy, no problem. But when we're talking about bosses, champions that take a quite a bit more firepower to take down, not having, you know, 3 of your abilities that are on your active skills bar not doing a whole lot of damage is really painful. And I really have no idea what is going on with that purple lantern. That is something new going on. You will notice that I am in what is considered Act 2, and there is no Act 3 as of yet in early access, so I am a bit further along, even from the last time that you saw me play with my sharpshooter. My sharpshooter is about the same level in the same place, and my fort is a bit more built up. I can also show you all that, but in the meantime, I have no qualms just kind of tinkering around, showing you how Railmaster works. I wish it was easier to fiddle fart around with the different abilities as well, because I would absolutely love to just kind of, this is this ability, this is that ability, but unless I'm making multiple characters, that's just not gonna happen. So you may see later on down the road, if you're following my videos, me going in there and when I have the ability to respec and just have fun and try to do some theory crafting, or later on down the road when I have more time, kind of create more characters, like create a melee only Railmaster and see how well that works, see if it's even remotely viable. So the enemies that I'm fighting here are called the Hyvids.
The Hyvid are curious species.
This is, I've already been through this particular dungeon.
With their queen, but I killed their queen, and now they're content to obey me instead.
So, right there, I mean, you saw just kind of absolutely devastated him. Now, granted, this is level 16 normal mode. One thing to note is that my gear is also capped at 17. So that is one thing that honestly bugs me. And yes, I'm still using some pretty old stuff, but the bonuses on these are really hard to pass up. Like a level 2 item with 32% bonus to critical damage and gear luck with regen. I've gotten a few other these boots at higher levels, and none of them come close to giving me the bonuses that those boots do. Level 5, level 8, yeah, but the gear is, I can't pass it up. So you'll also notice that lifebound. So lifebound items, I do keep a set with me that just in case for backup, because when I die, these items go away unless I use an item that would come in here, consumable, that can get rid of that quote curse. See, where's my train? Come on. Sometimes I don't even realize my train is chasing me, and it's like I'm in the thick of battle, and I'm like, oh crap, there's my train. So let me go ahead and use that facility to see all my endurance go away. See right there, it all went away. As far as sound, sometimes I have noticed it. Oh, that's what, guys, I am so dumb. So, all right, now that flashy. Oh, God, I completely forgot that I took away my basic attack to use the shocking rounds. And the shocking rounds. Okay, so it is neat, but I don't like the idea of not having a basic attack. So in this case, it does a little bit more array, but I don't know if it's really worth using an entire active skill over it, especially this late in the game. Don't want to die. All my stuff.
Your health is low.
Oh, yes, it is very low. I have noticed that since the last patch, I've been getting a lot more gear drops. I mean, I'm getting a bunch of unique stuff on a regular basis, and it's been fantastic. Almost every time I log in, I'm doing some type of, or I'm getting some type of unique gear. Alright, I need to go back to my basic attack here. It's gonna get me killed. You hear the train just kind of creaking along behind you. It's kind of cute. I mean, it looks like one of those little toy sets. It's not very intimidating, let's put it that way. But I will say that even after spending some time with the sharpshooter, I am more impressed with the Railmaster than I am with the sharpshooter. I mean, this is quite a fun class to play. I might even do the Railmaster first when this goes like full-blown launch.
As the Goblin Isle, the ancestral home of goblins. It seems the Hyvid infestation is a more recent addition to the ecology, and an aggressive one.
You may have seen also that I have 3 characters made. I have made a Dusk Mage as well. At some point in time, I will showcase the Dusk Mage. I'll probably get to about the same level, maybe level 20, just to see how it's performing based on the build that I have chosen. Just go through the abilities. Again, unless I'm endgame, I won't necessarily have the opportunity to go through and share with you exactly how those abilities perform compared to others, which is a big bummer. I definitely wish that I could more easily respec, change out abilities, show you how they perform, what they look like, what they do, but that's just not the case right now.
You're nearly dead.
Yeah, I know. Working on it. Now, the benefit of, even though I've already done this, the benefit for me to come back in here to this boss fight is those last little bits that I just picked up, the Ember Cores. Those Ember Cores are a very important resource. They help to craft relics. I'm assuming, and this is probably going to be a big assumption, but considering that how many actually drop, that eventually we'll have access to more. Or if I decide that I want to use a different type. Oh, I finally get a wolf. Yeah, I'll swap it with you. I want a wolf. To equip a different kind of relic on a single character, like even though I've already crafted the like say the cold heart and whatnot on another character, I can't just swap it over to this one. At least not to my knowledge yet. I haven't been able to yet. See anything good here? Not really. Swap it. Getting all this junk to my pet, and then I'm gonna send this bad boy home. Go sell it.
You are overloaded.
Yeah, thank you. I know I'm overburdened. Come here. There we go. So like every kill also gives you a resource. Well, I said not every kill, but every kill has a chance to give you a resource. The goblins have a chance to give you the Goblin Fury, the Hyvid Paste from the Hyvids, and then you got the Automaton Gizmos, and all of these you can feed into your fort. So with fort being talked about, let's go empty out those resources real quick. So I can show you how my fort is coming along. I think last time you saw it, it was still looking pretty basic. It hasn't gotten that much better. I mean, there are some folks that have built their forts up to look pretty nice, but I haven't been able to find a whole lot of extra recipes to build anything really nice in my fort. So right now I just have a whole bunch of garbage that I took out of there, you know, rotted trees, vines, mossy mushrooms, busted up barrels, ratty tents, things like that. I don't want that kind of stuff. So far I have experience with the Cold Heart, the Electrode, and the Flaming Destroyer. Previous beta experiences I had with Bane, that is a great one too. I loved it, but I will save that one for last. I still don't necessarily know if we're going to get more benefit out of these little devotion type of, not really relics, but structures. Because right now it's like, you know, I've dumped a ton of these goblin fury into this monument, and I've only got 4% fire defense. I mean, that just, to me, just seems very, very, very weak, and almost like, is it really worth it in the long run? I mean, it looks cool. Okay, looks cool. Same thing with this. It's an extra fire bonus. Could not claim. Why? It does change its appearance as you level it up, so it has gotten a bit bigger, as you can see. And eventually, when I start fighting more automatons, I'll get that stuff. Gold luck, you know, they saved that one for last. You know, I kind of need gold now. Everything's very expensive. If all my lifebound stuff gets booted off of my body, then because I died, well, gambling is incredibly expensive. Set up my factories over here. Have my stonemason, my smelter, and my sawmill. This helps to process the raw materials that I acquire throughout my adventures and make them into like ingots and wood planks. And what is all that stuff used for? Well, eventually you will get more of these recipes in order to decorate your fort. So right now, again, I don't really have a whole lot, so there's not much for me to put down there. Everything's kind of boring right now. I'm hoping that I do remember in the beta we had access to a lot more recipes. Just, I mean, right off the cuff, I can do a whole bunch of things. Finding the resources was much harder than trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to build. But in this case, looks like they took a lot of that away, and now we're just more or less stuck with what we got, and you know, it is what it is. Eventually, this tree will get bigger. These will get bigger. I'm not sure what that does. Can't move the pet. I can change out the pets whenever I want to. These are the ones that I've collected up to this point. But one bug that we've all come to find was that we can't move the structure anymore. So I don't know what's up with that. All right, back to killing stuff. Impressions of Torchlight 3 overall are pretty positive, but I'm also the kind of person that knows and understands that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Are they on the right track? Absolutely. There are certain mechanics in the game that I'm not too thrilled with. I don't understand why they exist. Just like, you know, area capping, level 16 through 18. I don't think that's necessary.
Perhaps this is for the best.
Especially if the game can be played in single player mode. I mean, even if you're playing actual multiplayer mode, I'm the only one in here. This is an instanced area. So it doesn't really matter what level this is. So if I decide that I want it to be level 15 coming in here, I'm going to get my butt whooped. If I decide to come in here at level 30, I'm going to whoop everything's butt. And it really should not matter of what my gear level is. So, I'm not sure why that's a thing. Almost every single time that you zone, you also have to resummon your train. Every time that you make a modification to your train, you have to resummon the train. So, it's easy to forget that. I just did. But as I was saying before, the train is much more helpful later on. And I'm very happy about that, because when it first started, it was absolute trash. I did post in the Discord, the Torchlight Discord, saying, "Hey, what are we doing about the train? Why is it so incredibly underwhelming?" And oh, you know what? It wasn't even the Discord. I'm sorry. I said it in Facebook. I said, "Why is the train so underwhelming? What are we gonna do about that?" And Max Schaefer came back and was like, "It's already been done. We're gonna see it in the next patch. So hopefully soon. Not sure exactly when that next patch is gonna be, but I'm looking forward to those patch notes. As soon as I do get those patch notes, I will be sharing them to the, you know, I created a Diablo Facebook page, community page, but it kind of turned into everything ARPG page, especially since news regarding Diablo is incredibly scarce. Like, it just never really hear anything about the game anymore, for both Diablo 3 and 4. So now we're not going to be getting a whole lot of updates on Diablo 4 for a while. We're going to get those quarterly updates, which are nice, and I'll be posting them there too, but I'll post a lot of non-Diablo stuff. Okay. There you are. So based on what you've seen so far, what do you think about it? Got any questions? Got any concerns? Post some in the comment section below. Completely destroyed. That's what I like to see. But what level am I anyway? 21. Find where I actually need to be. I need to go to Bogwood Hollow. I haven't tried to go there yet. It's funny, you know, in this game up to this point, also, I've had a pretty good reputation for killing guys like that, and then getting a unique item. So that's why you see me stopping, busting up boxes, killing zombies, you know, just random things as I go along, because the loot has been pretty decent. I have to admit, I do like the area chat. I do hope that they break it down a little bit more to like different areas, like maybe a trade chat eventually. Still don't know if we're gonna have the ability to trade between players, or I hope so. I mean, I kind of hope so. I have weird feelings about trading because I don't want to see the game like this being inundated with a bunch of botters and other people who come in here and just farm items for real money. You know, I don't want to see that. You know,
She had better not fail me.
I just, especially after Diablo 3 Vanilla and the real money auction house, it just, you know, bad experience with that. And I understand that something like this wouldn't be quite like that, but I would. Hold on. There we go. I would like to see something that you know, kind of like a clan system. That was one of the things that I was really hoping that Diablo would institute in terms of like clan trading. You should be able to at least trade with people in your clan. And if you're still kind of worried about that issue, then you know, make it so you're in a clan for at least 10 days before that you can trade with clan members. Things like that I think would be very beneficial, because I see folks all the time in my clan getting items that I absolutely need and can't do anything with it. So it's like, but it's something that I need. It's something that this guy needs for their build. But you can't do anything with it. Too bad. Not unless they were in the party with you when the item dropped. So I kind of miss trading. Something else I don't really understand is that right now in the game, obviously you see that I am in a different fort. The guy's here.
Things are pretty
Talk to
tough
him.
out there.
It's not any. Sometimes you can visit other people's forts in that regard, but I don't really understand why even have this type of map here. So I'm hoping that this is one of those things that kind of goes away. See, and you notice my train is gone again. See, a lot of folks are saying, "Oh, this game has a lot of potential." It does, absolutely, it does. And right now, I'm not really pleased with how it feels. I'm hoping that we're gonna get like another Wolcen. I don't know if you know anything about Wolcen or its development, but I was part of the early access on for Wolcen as well. And when it first came out, it was very open world. It was just this big open world map. You could do whatever you want. You can go to the wrong area and just get utterly destroyed because it's too high level. And that was a common thing about that. There's my train. And it was okay. It needed a lot of work. I mean, there was a one point in time where I just couldn't play it because the performance issues were so bad. It was like they implemented some type of patch that just utterly destroyed my ability to play the game. And then out of nowhere, they were just like, "Hey, here's a big release," and the game was nothing, nothing like what they had been testing up to that point, and it was an entirely new game, and I was blown away. It was fantastic, and it still had a very rough, even development process from there for a bit. And but when it went live, when it went for its launch itself, it was just like, boom! It's fantastic. Here we go. Hey, was there a chest at the end of the quest? Because I switched direct to the next land. At least I know that you can do that. Let's see if I can reply. Okay, there we go. Yeah, they don't really tell you how to do those commands, so you have to bear with me. There. Yeah, so what that guy's talking about is that apparently he didn't get the quest rewards, and that is a bummer, and it's honestly an issue, because rather than just putting the quest rewards in your inventory, it drops a chest that is kind of small, and it drops it like that size right there, and it drops it at your feet underneath the text that you're reading, and it's very easy to miss. And it sounds funny, and it is, in some regards, it is really funny, because it is so easy to miss. But he's also saying that it took him directly to the next land, and that's, I mean, I've done it twice now. That's not how it works. So it sounds to me like there's a bit of user error there. It is what it is. I mean, honestly, there's no reason right now to worry about stash tabs, because I have 5 now, and I mean, what are you filling it up in there with? I mean, there's not a whole lot of really awesome, fantastic loot in this game just yet, so let alone something that you really want to worry about, because there's going to be character wipes at some point in time. Matter of fact, I should probably tell him about that, because I think that's something that not a lot of people know. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's a good feeling just destroying those fools like that. You see that the fireballs falling from the sky periodically? Ooh, that's great. See, I like that relic. There we go. Let's see if that blows his mind. Like I said, there are some folks who just don't know that there's still going to be character wipes. I mean, it's pretty obvious that there will be. I mean, just how everything is set up right now. I don't want it to. I mean, I would love to just finally be able to make progress, but I mean, the game's not finished. I mean, it's just not finished yet. So, I mean, even if we didn't get character wipes, I mean, I'd get to a certain point in the story. The story itself is not complete. I mean, the opening cinematics are gone. That were there during the beta, and even during the beta, like, hey, this is not a finished product, and this is absolutely subject to change. So, the fact that they removed those kind of, screams to me that, yes, I mean, there are things that are going to be changing on a big level. So, I'm hoping that what we'll see are not only changes to the game, some of the mechanics that are in the game that could use some work, especially in the realm of respecing, but also the maps themselves, because compared to Torchlight 2, the maps themselves feel like they took a step backwards. I mean, right now, even character development feels like it took a step backwards.
As the Goblin
But
Isle, the ancestral
at
home
least,
of goblins.
though,
It seems the
they've got a
Hyvid
good
infestation
foundation,
is
and I
a
think
more
that
recent
they're
addition
going
to the
in the right
ecology,
direction.
and an aggressive one at that.
And the reason why I say step backwards, because I mean, if you've ever played Torchlight 2, you at least had 3 different skill trees you can go down. 3 that had probably just as many active skills, but then each tree had 3 passive skills that you could level up along the way. I mean, it adds depth. It adds, more creativity to builds. It adds more uniqueness to builds and character classes, and if we're taking that out of it, it just seems like a step backwards when it's supposed to be so much more. So again, I hope that these are things that the devs are paying attention to and will fix or at least address, but only time will tell. And things like that can really make or break a
The new
game.
colony
I mean,
is
let's face it.
proceeding
mean,
beautifully.
They got their money
Who knew
on people
how
like me. I mean,
well
this
a little
was
starving
already the most
ember
expensive
would work on
Torchlight
Hyvid
game
nights.
that's come out to this day. I mean, they've always been a $20 game. I mean, this early access is $30. So, do I regret it? No. I'm having fun. I'm looking forward to when I can actually finish the game, like in terms of, hey, starting out level 1 and get to the end game, finish the story, progress, because I haven't been able to for the last few years. But at least it's been fun. It's been fun to be part of that process, to provide feedback and say, hey, I think that this could be better, or what about this? And in most points, the developers seem to be pretty open to taking feedback and doing something with it. But there are others where it's just like, nope, we are not doing that. And that's at the end of the day, it is their artwork, nobody else's. All right. Let's see, I get anything decent here? I got. No. So lifebound items are always going to be a bit more powerful than other items. That's why they're lifebound. The problem with that is, like, I mean, for instance, see, this one's level 20, this one's level 20. Yes, I mean, of course, you got rarity differences here, but just the raw damage is pretty significant. And then, it's got more bonuses. I mean, the one that I'm using, it's got that extra critical hit chance. Whew. Nice increase to it too. Okay. Hope I don't die, or I hope I get something, that scroll that takes away that life bound. Well, the guy hasn't responded, so either he's figured it out or he's given up. Or doesn't like my answer and he's grumpy. I don't know. Alright, my son is losing his mind. Son's behind me playing Fortnite. Must have. Oh, phase beast! Alright, so, you know what? Alright, well, I guess I'm going right into the portal. But if you remember in Torchlight 2, if you played Torchlight 2, there was these random phase beasts. They look just like that, you know, a little bit smaller. Just these purple cats, ghostly-looking cats that would, when you die, they drop a portal, and the portal will take you to a map with a unique arena with unique objectives. Right now, we at least see that phase beasts are a thing, which is great. They're easy to spot, because before they weren't very easy to spot. I'm just going to go ahead and click this, because right now, the phase beasts only take you to a boss. And so far, it's only taken me to... I've fought this guy twice, and then I fought Wide Load once. Wide Load was another boss from Act 1. So, just to kind of give you an idea as to... Oh, that's much range. What to expect right now. Now, again, this is another one of those things that I hope we're going to see a change here sooner rather than later to get a real good feel for what these phase beasts take us to. But at least for now, the nice thing about it is the fact that we do get more of those different cores to craft more relics, we get another shot at a cage, and we get a big fat chest. So I'm not going to hear argue too much about it. The only thing that sucks is that it's just also a good chance to get destroyed and then friendly because lost all my life-bound stuff. What really hurts is when that life-bound is tied to a legendary item. And then you die. That happened to me twice now. You know, but one funny kind of comparison somebody said was, well, in hardcore mode, it doesn't really matter if it's lifebound or not. If you die, it's it. It's true.
Your inventory
It's not
is
your
full.
gear that you have to worry about, it's the entire bloody character. Alright, my inventory is not full.
Your pack is too heavy.
Oh! Respectable. Alright, well, with that being said, I'm going to
Your
go ahead and
pack
use
is
that
full.
so that right now, that's another thing. Those consumables should not be life-bound. That has been another issue that's been addressed. And I have lost those type of items after dying because I didn't realize that those were also life-bound. Oh, look, another dog sent home. Oh. New hammer.
You can't carry anymore.
Okay. Let's see. Any better? Woo! Yeah, that's better. Look at that. It's only 3 levels higher, but it is significantly more base damage than the one I'm using. Holy crap. Jeez. It is also lifebound. And it doesn't matter if I have this... You know what? It doesn't matter if I have that equipped or not. It will disappear from my inventory. Now, what I can do...
You can't cast that.
Well, my bad. What I can do after I leave here, which it's going to put me at the entrance of the dungeon that I was in. I'm going to go back to my fort and put some of this stuff in my stash, so that way if I die, I can just go back. So let me do that right now, since I got some decent gear. I don't want to lose everything in one fell swoop. All right. I should probably change the title to this. Wasn't much of a spotlight. I don't like not being able to talk a whole lot about the abilities. That does kind of bother me. Alright, the sun is continuing to go crazy. Okay. He has this fascination with QR codes. Anything that's a QR code. No idea what it does or where it's going to take him. But he's 9. Got a new microphone stand, kind of like a boom for my desk. And he's showing me a QR code that was on the instructions. And rather than seeing if I need it, he just tossed it in the trash. So I have to go digging through the trash to make sure I don't actually need it. Something went wrong. I don't know why. I wanted to be able to do more. I have seen this tree in its more advanced stages. It does get pretty big. So the funny thing is that if I wanted to say use, I'm not going to actually do it, but let's look at the bottom of the item there, 688. It'll give 688 essence if I decide to sacrifice this item to the tree. But for a blue, the very next rarity down and life bound, it's only 56. So as you can imagine, it just gets lower and lower and lower as you go, almost to the point where it's not even worth putting all of your gear into it. And notice I'm not just going to right click just in case, God forbid, I was still in the tree menu. Yeah, I clicked on my portal. That means go. So the one thing we do know about this story, which isn't much, by the way, not much at all. Oh, I have a skill point. I'll do that later. What we do know about the story is that the events of this particular game take place several hundred years after that of Torchlight 2. So you may be coming across some audio files, some bookshelves with books in them explaining what happened in Torchlight 2 and what the goal of the Dark Alchemist was and what he was trying to do, how the outcome of it and all that. And it's really nice to kind of listen to that, especially if you have already played Torchlight 2 and finished it to its completion. And only because, you kind of lived through it. And now you get to see kind of the impact of what was going on. One thing that they didn't get into a whole lot, which I hope they do in the story, because timeline-wise, it seemed kind of goofy that it waited 300 some odd years, or two to 300 some odd years before these Netherim decided to come back. Based off of the actions in Torchlight. Well, why did it take so long? And but again, that was subject to change, opening cinematic type stuff. So I expect that we'll see a whole lot more a little bit later. One thing I will say about the abilities compared to Torchlight 2 is Torchlight 2's abilities seemed very meh. They weren't very flashy. They weren't very powerful. I felt that the abilities in Torchlight 2 were very, very, very underwhelming. I'm playing through it right now. Obviously not right now, but I have been playing it in between my Torchlight 3 sessions and just comparing And you know, and I think that's important, you know, to compare. But one thing I did notice was, do I need to go over here? The abilities just don't ever really seem like they're absolutely necessary. I mean, your basic attack is pretty darn strong. I mean, there are certain abilities that enhance your basic attacks that I think are much more useful than an ability that freezes my enemies and does a little bit of damage over time, or a swipe that does, you know, X percentage of a little bit more damage. And I know that that's kind of what these are doing, but they don't feel as satisfying as some of these abilities. Ember Mage in Torchlight 2 was an incredible class. I mean, it really was. You just enter a room, throw out your hands, and these beams of light just home in on enemies. I mean, you didn't really have to do much with that one. It almost felt like I was cheating. It was so ridiculous. You know, for a weapon that was that much more. Wait, what? See, that's what I'm talking about. So in my inventory, you see, that's another reason why I really hate level caps on areas, because it can be misleading. So this will get me to level 23. That's all fine and good, but this area is capped at level 19. So that means I'm not gonna see the full benefit of this until I get into an area that is at the same level, or at least closer to the same level. I don't like that, you know? It's like, if I want to be overpowered in a certain area, then let me be overpowered in a certain area. Otherwise, what's the point of getting better gear? What's the point of leveling up if it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to worry about getting to level 23 because this area is only level 19. That was a really weird place to put a waypoint, so now I have to go all the way back again. I do believe that this is one of those features that was part of the Frontiers. I think it was, you know, an MMO thing, but now that we've already got confirmation that we'll be able to play this game completely, utterly offline, solo if we want to, or with local co-op, or, well, I don't know about local co-op, but at least co-op, or, you know, with a group of people, kind of like how it is right now. I'll probably play it like it is right now, you know, online, but probably not with people, just because I like to share experiences or ask questions here and there. It's like, hey man, I came across this issue. Is anybody else experiencing it? Or, you know, hey, I missed this thing. Did anybody else, you know, what's the deal with that? Or, you know, even at gear advice or trading, I have no problem doing stuff like that. If it's like this, I am because I like still seeing people in town, but not necessarily.
Your pack is full.
Is it? Don't say. So afraid I'm gonna die. Weird.
You've gained a level.
Oh, I. Now, can my weapon gain a level with me? No, not. Oh, a little bit of lag there. See, that's what I don't like about online games. Is that lag. It's part of the main reason why I don't do hardcore in Diablo 3. I have died to lag before, and that is frustrating. You know your life was over when you're in the middle of a big fight, and all of a sudden you rubber band. You're just like,
You
well,
are overburdened.
may as well Alt F4 now. I'm dead. Whoa! Holy moly! Not today. No, not me.
Away.
It. Yeah. I think a lot of that is because I haven't upgraded my armor. So, I mean, let's be real. I don't probably have a lot less defense than I should. those bonuses though. Collect them quest items. How many do I need? One more of those. And I have found that there are some of those, like, those elite, legendary or unique. Yay! What'd I get? What'd I get? What'd I get? Another
You are
fire
overloaded.
starter? Oh, man. You know, there is a lot of these weapons around, and I get another fire starter. This is literally the only weapon, a legendary weapon, or a unique, legendary, okay, legendary weapon that I've ever gotten in this game. You get it as a quest reward as well, by the way. I hope that, and I certainly hope that changes based upon what class you're playing, because the first time I got Firestarter was as a sharpshooter, and I'm like, wow, that was useless. It's great getting a legendary that you can't use, but okay. I'm like throwing daggers over here. You know what? I wasn't really paying attention. Is that going to be useful for me? Nope. I don't like losing that much in my damage. I mean, let's see. Wow, that didn't help. And I'm sure if I got a really good focus, maybe, but no, definitely not worth it. I will probably do I want to sacrifice it, or would I want to hold on to it for my other character? Maybe I'll sacrifice it. Mages don't really use swords. Skeletons really use their hands. But a forged might use it. Shoulders. Oh, lifebound. Oh, my defense went down, but my poison resistance went up. But my damage goes up because of the crit.
It's rigged.
The hatchery is a fascinating place.
Okay, great. Is that it? Sometimes it picks and chooses how it wants to do those. Sometimes it'll play the whole thing even though you're walking around clicking on things, and other times it just stops. And I really wish that they would just make it play the whole thing, whether you click on something or not, walk away or not. Ooh. Nice. Poor bastard. There's one dude there. Pound.
Make it back to the cove. I had to stay to hold the bunks back.
It's rigged.
It's rigged. Alright, so let's go level up. Excuse me. So another thing you'll notice, that another departure from the other Torchlight, is that we're not actually devoting any points to our actual stats. That's another thing that kind of, I don't want to say it bugs me, but it's just, like, I feel that we could benefit from it. So, you know, to help tailor our characters a little bit more to our own specific, you know, wants and desires. Let's see. For the sake of just whatever, let's try this spike drive now that I have access to it. This could be fun. I I can go here, so I still don't have access. Oh, that's level 30. Okay, fair enough. More chance to bring those things down? Sure. So I only have one chance to do that before it has to replenish. Okay. Oops. No problem. Let's try it out. It's only like basic bitch. Oh, okay. So it's like seismic slam.
This dream glow ointment.
What's the
10
cooldown
drops
like?
crooked bogwood oil, 1 pinch of Hyvid flavor crystals, 1
Pretty
pinch
significant.
of Hyvid
Holy crap.
dust. Combine.
What does it take to
turn
get it back?
slowly.
You are gravely wounded.
Gains a charge only after spending endurance with any skill. I did. Oh, okay, there we go.
Your pack is too heavy.
What? Is it my potion? No. Uh-oh. Okay, I already put him in my stash. Time to send the little guy home.
You are overburdened.
Oh, do I have too many of those too? I sure do. You get a lot of these that drop. Good thing is that they do sell for quite a bit of money. And I say quite a bit, but I mean, in terms of anything else that you sell in this game so far, it is a lot. 60 gold. So. I think they call them bits in this game.
Whoa, you look like you could use a drink.
I could use a drink.
I'll keep a chill one for you.
Okay. So, I gotta aim the seismic slam. That was not good, Horseman. Come on, train. We got work to do. Alright, what's down here? This looks like a nymph tree. Long walk to get to the boss. Sedea. Okay. We're talking rough
So was it
cinematics.
you
I
who
love
defeated
this.
Brawl?
I don't know about y'all,
expected
but I
more.
absolutely
No
love
matter.
seeing
You did me
cinematics
a
like this.
favor.
Why?
You're
I love the
just in
concept
time
art.
for
I
me to
love
test
the
out
fact
my
that we
new
get
Hyvid
storyboard.
Queen.
And yes, I am
Sora.
purposefully talking over what they're saying because one, I don't want to hear it,
If you
and
want to do me
two,
another
you know, I
favor,
want it to be a surprise
go
for you guys
ahead
too.
and
I want it to be a
die.
nice, beautiful surprise for when you do decide to play the game that you don't necessarily hear what she's saying, what their you know, role is doing. Oh man, that was actually really cool. Love seeing it in that state of development. That just really fun. Good move. Every wrong button. Hit it. What? Okay. Alright, come here. Wait, what? Why is it? Am I using it? Like this? I'm trying to. There we go. Yeah, it's a little bit wonky not having a basic attack, but you know what? That wasn't so bad. Level 21 boss. I think that I would like to play at higher difficulties just to see how well that works out. Got another dwarven hammer. Good? No. Well, it's not better than what I have. Ooh. No. Alright.
You are overloaded.
Yes, I'm aware. Tell me everything. Who is that narrator, by the way? Notice that they are in every single game.
It seems like Mother's special recipe has done the trick. The juicy green bug is sleeping in some kind of crispy cocoon.
Crispy
If Mother's
cocoon.
prediction is right, when it comes out, it'll be bigger and hungrier than any of these bugs ever.
Well, it got
That
destroyed
should
pretty
work
quickly.
as a solid distraction.
Yeah, it got destroyed pretty quickly, so I wouldn't be too happy about it. Alright. Okay, so it brings me back here, huh? Oh wait, this is a new place. Okay. I'm okay with that. Let's see. Optional grubs. Go to Hyvid Hatchery, which I did, and apparently needed to collect more of those egg pods. Well, bummer. That is kind of an issue we have going on right now as well, is that dungeons and areas aren't necessarily dropping everything that we need for quests. Prior to coming on this stream, I was playing the Dusk Mage, and I was in the dungeon, and not all of the items that I needed for a quest dropped. And I'm not entirely sure how to reset the dungeon yet without having to just flat out go back to title screen and then come back in. I shouldn't have to do that. Let's see. Come on, train. Just in case I need you. Nope. I know this is boring, and I apologize. I need to go back in. I want to finish that quest. Hope that we're going to see more side quests as well, side dungeons. Oh, is he going to let me back? Okay. Usually the red doors don't mean that they're not going to let you back in again. So let's see if there's an entire area. Okay, so I missed an entire area down that way. Gotcha. User error.
Your pack is full.
Woo, whoa! I used 2. Alright, I shouldn't have been able to use 2, so that is probably something that is going to get cleared up here pretty soon. See, look at my train. That's kind of what I'm talking about. When it starts to act a little bit wonky like that, you gotta do something. Oh. So turn it off. Gotta wait. Go out of range and resummon it. And sometimes it comes back. Okay, there we go. So I'm hoping that we'll get a bit more stability in that regard. Let's see if I can. Alright, I got that seismic slam back. I'm gonna see if I can do it twice again. Trying to get it to let me do it twice. I'll have to just like really spam the button like I was doing last time. There we go. Let me do it again. So I don't know if that's like just an issue because I'm getting another one in before it registers that I've used it, or what. But I'm sure that that's going to be something that's going to get addressed at some point in time. That would probably be pretty OP. Although I admit I don't like the idea that the ability is only going to be available if you use your endurance Again, I'm not too thrilled with how they do their active ability bars anyway, right now. When it comes to the train, I would love to have more melee abilities, not just pound. Stuff's just falling out of the sky. I would like to be able to have more choice in that, or even more cards, but I just really don't think that the build train should be an active ability, especially. I mean, it should be common sense that it's always there next to you, whether you're really utilizing it or not. And I mean, I'm not crazy, right? I still did not get the thing I was looking for, the quest item that I was looking for. So, luckily, this seems to be an optional quest, so I can skip it for now. Feel like I definitely wasted my time. Going back to see if I missed something. I feel like I should have gotten it. I don't understand. Egg pod yolk.
You are overloaded.
So lucky. So lucky I got a white item. Just a common item. Down this way. I might have missed. Clickables.
Did Zephyrus make it back to the cove? I had to stay to hold the bugs back, so he could make it back with his notes. These things are single-minded. I think I've only survived this long because they're busy preparing for something.
Kinda hoping that was it. Nope.
I think the poison is finally...
Nope. Nope. Alright. It's just wonky. Cool. Well, it is what it is. I'll go back to my fort. And then press on. I'll deal with that later. Alright. So with that being said, I think that'll be all for today. I hope that this was enlightening. Please, again, if you have any questions about the Railmaster or how it's kind of set up, if I'd really love to hear what your thoughts are. If you noticed anything that I may not have noticed during the gameplay, that you thought was a little bit off or could use some improvement, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section, and I'll absolutely bring it up. I do feel that there is still some work that needs to be done with the Railmaster, but I will say that I am probably enjoying the Railmaster more than any other class at this time. So I love, you'll notice, like, I named him Sid after the Final Fantasy engineer, and, without the helmet, or I should say when you first make the character, I designed to kind of make him look like John Henry, the folklore hero, or the folk hero, and the owl, Bubo, from Clash of the Titans. So I love the concept of the Railmaster, that engineer, that steampunk, that he's got a bloody train following him, doing damage for him and whatnot. So now that I have seen the improvements to how that train is utilized, I look forward to seeing where this class can go later on. But with the changes that I feel that they need to do with character development, and with the changes that I feel that they need to do with the class in general, like get rid of build train as an active skill, truly make shocking rounds a passive. I'm not even saying that it needs to be super passive, but it needs to be passive. What I'm saying, it may not necessarily need to do all the same numbers of damage here, but being able to dump points in it to have the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 bonuses, make them a little bit more powerful, but make this a true passive ability, I think would be very nice to see in the future. So I would love to see some greater improvements to how the conductor portion of the Railmaster is done. I shouldn't have to either choose a melee skill or a train skill. So I know that sounds like really weird, but I want to be able to actively be able to do things and not have to solely depend on my train to do all the damage for me. But at the same time, though, I want the train to actually be useful. So we'll see where this goes in the future. I'm excited to see what it's going to do, what it's going to become, and I hope you are too. All right. So next week, I plan on doing the same relative type of the same type of video, but for the Dusk Mage. So by then I should be about level 20-ish or so, and I'll be able to feature some of its abilities and what it's like to play the class, balancing the light and dark, and much in the same way I did with this one. I'm not going to be able to speak to every single one of those abilities, but I at least will be able to give you a rundown as to how the character class is played, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, things that I would love to see improved, things that I thought that they did well, especially when you reference the Dusk Mage with the Ember Mage from Torchlight 2. So, all right. That'll probably happen around the same time next Saturday. If you would like to see it, tune in. I'll be here. Until next time, Horseman out.